I spot the rip, his pristine white shirt torn at the side seam, the raw edge flapping like a challenge against the polished marble backdrop of the lobby. The moment I notice the tear, time slows. The grand lobby of Westmont Towers hums with quiet authority. Executives stride past in tailored suits, the click of designer pumps echoing on the gleaming stone, phones buzzing with clipped conversations. Sunlight streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, casting bold rectangles of light across the bronze reception desk. The air is sharp with the scent of polish and perfume, but all of it fades as my focus locks on that tear. My tiny sewing kit feels absurd in my hands. A spool of white thread, a stubby pair of scissors, relics from my grandmother's sewing circle. They look fragile here, swallowed by the grandeur of chandeliers and marble. My braids slip forward. I tuck one behind my ear, fingers brushing against hot skin. A lump forms in my throat. I am only supposed to pass through this place on my way to the basement laundry, but here I am, kneeling in the CEO's path. "Excuse me, may I?" My voice sounds too small for the cathedral-like space. He glances down. One brow arches, curiosity sparking in eyes the color of storm seas. He is tall, broad-shouldered, his hair swept back with effortless precision. His shirt clings perfectly, every crease deliberate, except for the rip. His gaze meets mine, steady, calm, yet questioning. I lay out my tools on the cold marble floor, a spool of thread, a dull thimble, a sharpened pair of silver scissors. The receptionist behind the desk watches, brows raised in disbelief, lips parting as if to object, but no words leaving. His jacket hangs over his arm like an afterthought. He shifts aside, giving me space, and I kneel fully, my knees pressed against the cold stone through my thin ballet flats. My skirt rides up my thighs, but I cannot worry about propriety. I press the fabric gently, studying the damage. A quarter-inch tear that could easily unravel further. I thread the needle slowly, forcing my shaking hands to steady. My grandmother's voice echoes in my head. Good work comes from calm hands and a steady heart. I drive the needle through the edge, pulling white thread taut. Each stitch is small, deliberate, nearly invisible. The chandeliers sparkle above, but all I see is the thread-piercing cotton. Each pass feels like a promise. I will not let this tear spread. His watch glints, the engraving on its band catching my eye. Luxury I've only seen in magazines. The receptionist finally walks away, her curiosity spent. The air grows still, broken only by the hum of conditioning and the faint creak of leather as he shifts. I imagine his thoughts. Who is this seamstress? What right does she have to kneel here? But he says nothing. His silence is weight, not disapproval. The opulent lobby feels like a stage set, and I am the actor chosen for a part I never auditioned for. My mind flashes back to yesterday. Bent over laundry, steam rising, trousers piled high. Down there I was invisible, predictable, safe. But today, fate has stitched a seam I did not expect. The stitches come together, neat and strong. I tie the last knot, smooth the fabric flat, and rise, my knees aching, my fingers trembling. He extends his hand. The sleeve is flawless now. "Thank you," he says, voice low yet carrying, warm with sincerity. His smile is small but real, his storm-gray eyes softening. I clutch my kit under my arm and murmur, "Glad to help." But then he presses something into my palm. A gold-etched access card gleams under the chandelier. His name and title shine clear. Brandon Westmont, CEO. The plastic is cool against my skin, but it burns like fire. I stare at it, stunned. A lifeline into a world I never thought I'd touch. My grandmother's warning whispers, "Do not reach too high." But when I meet his eyes, steady and kind, the doubt fades. "Come with me," he says softly. "I'd like to show you where this shirt belongs." I look past him at the elevator, its mirrored doors waiting like a portal. My pulse races. Step forward, and I enter his world. "Stay behind," and I vanish back into mine. He extends his arm toward the polished steel doors. The gold card burns hot in my palm. The elevator glides open with a soft whisper, revealing shadows beyond the sunlit lobby. My breath catches. I know if I step inside, the life I knew will close behind me forever. Tomorrow, I badge in through the VIP entrance, and the guard salutes, his steady nod sealing my entry into a world I never imagined would welcome me. The next morning, the building's sleek facade glitters in the early sun, glass panels rising 24 stories into the sky. I clutch the gold-etched access card, my heart drumming against my ribs like an urgent alarm. At the VIP entrance, a stern African guard in a perfectly pressed Navy uniform raises her chin in recognition. Then, she salutes. No one has ever saluted me before. My spine straightens as I step past the revolving doors, drawn into a realm of hushed polish and whispered power. The lobby opens in a sweep of marble and steel, sunlight pouring through tall windows to spotlight every surface. My footsteps echo as I pass a row of orchids, their white blooms sharp against glossy green leaves. At the reception desk, staff in crisp uniforms exchange clipped greetings, their voices a soft background hum. Ahead, towering glass doors gleam, each flanked by a portrait of Brandon Westmont. His gaze, steady, confident, seems to follow me. Beneath his name is etched in brushed steel, his years of service engraved on a plaque. Yet even those accolades pale against the aura the portrait commands. Walking past feels like stepping through the threshold of his throne room, and I am the only stranger allowed entry. Whispers trail me. Colleagues pause mid-conversation, voices low but pointed. "That's him, the CEO. Can you believe she's here?" Heat flushes my cheeks. I grip my tote tighter, the outline of my sewing kit pressing through the fabric. Hours ago, I was hemming aprons in the basement laundry. Now I move through this golden maze, every glance marking me, every step exposing me. In the reflection of the reception mirror, a shadow appears, broad shoulders in a tailored suit. Brandon Westmont himself emerges from the elevator. He walks with the steady rhythm of someone who owns the ground beneath his feet. His charcoal suit fits flawlessly, shoulders aligned, trousers breaking perfectly at polished shoes, cufflinks catching sparks of light. My instinct is to shrink away, but I force my head high and keep moving. Past the desk, a corridor splits in two. One side leads to executive offices, the other to glass-walled conference suites. The walls are pale gray, trimmed in steel, hung with bold red and gold abstract art. The air hums with muted strategy. Economic forecasts whispered into phones, plans murmured under digital clocks. My pulse races. I am in his world, where hierarchy hides beneath polish and power, and I am an outsider threading my way through it. I pass the cafe bar, where baristas in black aprons swirl foam into geometric patterns. The hiss of espresso punctuates the hush. Colleagues raise their cups slightly as I walk by. An acknowledgement, a curiosity. My sewing kit feels absurd here, a humble relic against this gleaming financial citadel. At last, I reach the stairwell lobby, where a bank of elevators waits. Thick blue carpet muffles my steps, its edges trimmed with dark wood under mirrored walls. I press the button for the basement, heart stumbling in my chest. The arrow flickers downward. The doors glide open. Before stepping in, my gaze catches across the hall. Brandon Westmont boards another elevator. For the briefest second, his eyes lock with mine, his expression unreadable. Then the doors close. My breath hitches. Did he notice me? Or was I just another passing figure in his empire? The elevator hums as it descends past floors marked with silver plaques. Innovation Lab, Global Strategy, Executive Offices. Numbers tick down. 15, 10, 5. The polished light of the lobby gives way to gray service corridors, the hum of AC replaced by the rumble of pipes and washers. The doors part on the basement. I step into fluorescent glow, the familiar scent of detergent and hot linen wrapping around me. The laundry room is alive with clattering carts, folded stacks, steaming presses. Co-workers glance up, mugs in hand. "Big day?" one teases, nodding toward the security cameras. I smile faintly, slipping my sewing kit behind me. Just another Monday. But my heart betrays me. The card in my pocket pulses with potential, access to floors I was never meant to see. I drain my coffee quickly, toss the cup, and slide back into the rhythm of folding, pressing, repairing. Yet every hum of the machines feels like a countdown. Then my manager appears. Her tailored blazer is sharp, her phone glowing in hand. She moves with precision, her heels clicking against the tiled floor. My stomach tightens as she approaches. In her hand is the very shirt I repaired this morning, pressed and folded to perfection. She stops before me, her voice steady, quiet but carrying weight. "Brandon Westmont wants to meet you." Now my heart slams. The card in my pocket throbs hotter, like it knew this moment was coming. The chatter of co-workers fades. The roar of machines blurs into background thunder. I open my mouth, but no words come. Only adrenaline floods through me. The truth echoes in my chest. This is the summons, the call that changes everything. My manager's gaze doesn't waver. "He's waiting on the 23rd floor. I'll call the elevator." I rise slowly, tucking my kit under my arm, my legs unsteady, but moving. "Thank you," I manage to whisper. As I follow her out, the laundry's fluorescent light fades. The air shifts. The door closes with a heavy thud behind me, sealing away the world I knew. Ahead is only glass, steel, and ambition waiting. The basement doors close with a thud as my manager presses the button. The panel lights climb. 1, 5, 12, 20. My pulse surges at 23. When the doors open, I know I'll step into a world where every stitch, every word, could alter my fate forever. The elevator doors close with us alone inside, his piercing gaze reflected in the mirrored walls, turning this tiny metal box into an altar of revelation. My chest tightens as the doors whisper shut behind us. The golden glow of the lobby and the shuffle of polished shoes vanish, replaced by the sterile hush of brushed steel and soft overhead light. Brandon Westmont stands inches away, so close that I can sense the faint, clean scent of his cologne, citrus mingled with cedar, sharp yet grounding. He presses the button for the 23rd floor with practiced calm, a motion so natural, so commanding, it sends a shiver through me. I clutch my chest lightly, trying to steady my breath, but the thought of being alone with the CEO I had served only hours earlier makes my lungs lock. My gaze drops instinctively to his cufflinks, sleek silver ovals engraved with the company crest, catching slivers of light in this enclosed space. I cough to disguise the hitch in my breath, but the sound feels like it echoes. He tilts his head, curiosity glinting in those storm-gray eyes. The look is not dismissive, but probing, as though he sees beyond fabric and thread to something more fragile. I feel stripped bare under his gaze, every imperfection magnified by the unforgiving mirrors lining the walls. The hum of the cables above us throbs like a drum, carrying us upward toward the unknown. Floor numbers flash softly overhead. 5, 8, 12. Each one feels like a rung on a ladder I was never meant to climb. My fingers curl around the strap of my worn tote bag, pressing against the familiar bulge of my sewing kit. The memory of threading a needle in the marble lobby still burns in my hands, palms damp, stitches steady, despite fear. Does he remember? Did he notice my trembling then? Or was I just a flicker of novelty in his day? Silence stretches, broken only by the faint ding of passing floors. I wonder what he sees when he looks at me. A seamstress in scuffed flats, a woman out of place in this world of precision and glass. Yet his gaze does not dismiss. It studies, questions, holds me still. There is something human in his quiet attention, an intrigue that unsettles me more than indifference ever could. As the elevator climbs, memories replay unbidden. The way his expression softened when I tied off the final stitch, the curve of his lips when he thanked me, the weight of the gold card pressing into my palm. Each recollection tangles inside me, threading hope and dread together until I can hardly breathe. I close my eyes briefly, pressing my fingers to the cool metal handrail. Its firmness anchors me. I belong here, I whisper to myself. My skill mattered. My courage mattered. This elevator is not a cage. It is a bridge, and I have earned the right to cross it. The indicator climbs faster now. 17, 19, 22. My heart beats so loudly, I wonder if he can hear it. I smooth the seam of my blouse, an unconscious ritual I always perform when nerves fray. My stomach coils, taut with anticipation. The elevator slows. The light flicks to 23. A soft chime rings, followed by the gentle slide of doors opening. Before me lies a corridor wrapped in deep aubergine carpet, its edges kissed with brushed steel. Frosted glass panels line the walls, each etched with glowing room numbers. From behind one, a faint strain of ambient music drifts, elegant and restrained. Brandon steps back, his hand lightly brushing the door as he holds it open for me. "After you," he says, his voice low, steady, almost disarming in its warmth. Heat floods my face, but I lift my chin, smoothing my skirt with trembling fingers. "Thank you," I murmur, though my voice sounds steadier than I feel. His eyes soften, the corners crinkling with something that looks startlingly like encouragement. "I'm looking forward to seeing your work." The words ripple through me like fire. My feet move, shoes muffled by the thick carpet, carrying me toward the polished steel handle of his office door. Through the frosted glass, I glimpse shadowed outlines, awards gleaming on shelves, mock-ups pinned in deliberate order. I reach out, fingertips brushing the handle's cool surface, breath shallow with anticipation. One last hesitation grips me. My knuckles hover, suspended between past and future. Then, with a deep inhale, I push. The door yields smoothly, and his office unfolds before me like a stage. Walls of glass framing the city skyline. A walnut desk broad enough to command the room, its surface scattered with fabric swatches and digital renderings. A minimalist couch in dove gray softens the corners. Afternoon light floods through the windows, gilding Brandon's face as he turns to greet me. I step inside, uncertain where to rest my sewing kit, uncertain how to carry myself in this sanctuary of ambition. He gestures toward a leather chair across the desk. "Please, sit." I lower myself onto the chair, the kit still clutched on my lap like armor. He circles behind the desk and settles into his own seat, folding his hands with quiet composure. The atmosphere hums with something unspoken, a weight that presses gently but insistently. Then he smiles, genuine, open, warmer than I expected. "I want to hear the story behind every stitch," he says, "from the tear in my shirt to the designs you've dreamed up." The words drape over me like a mantle. This is not formality. This is invitation. Slowly, I open my sewing kit, its neat rows of thread catching the golden light, my grandmother's thimble gleaming softly at the corner. Brandon leans forward, curiosity alive in his eyes. "Show me," he says simply. I draw in a breath, my heart steadying for the first time, and I begin to speak, not only of fabric and thread, but of nights spent sketching by candlelight, of the dreams stitched quietly into seams no one ever noticed. Words spill out, each one truer than the last, as though the elevator ride has unspooled something I can no longer hold back. Halfway through sharing my aspirations, his gaze flickers past me. A chime interrupts, the sharp note of his phone vibrating against wood. He retrieves it, his face tightening as he reads a single line glowing across the screen. The warmth drains from his eyes, replaced by steel. Rising abruptly, he fixes his gaze on mine. It seems complications have arisen, he says quietly, and we may need more than stitches to solve this. His office yawns open like a cathedral of glass and chrome. My mouth goes dry against the quiet roar of possibility. I step across the threshold and feel the shift immediately. The atmosphere is different here, charged, vast, humming with presence. The walls are floor-to-ceiling panes of glass, offering a vertigo-inducing view of the skyline. The city sprawls below like a living map, sunlight ricocheting off skyscrapers and refracting across steel beams. Shards of light scatter onto the deep charcoal carpet, dazzling and disorienting. My pulse quickens, every beat echoing in this immense chamber. Ahead, a conference table gleams like a mirror. As I draw closer, my reflection swims into view. Plain shoes, modest skirt, and in my hands a scuffed leather sewing kit that suddenly feels less like a tool and more like Excalibur. My palms sweat against its worn handle. I remind myself, every stitch I have made has led me here. The far wall is alive with minimalist art, stark white canvases slashed with strokes of crimson and gold. Power speaks in silence here, not in shouts but in choices, the angles of furniture, the gleam of polished steel, the curve of sculptural light suspended like metallic blossoms. The space itself radiates authority. And then, there is him. Brandon Westmont stands beside his walnut desk, a man as perfectly composed as the room he inhabits. His charcoal suit molds to his frame with impossible precision. Light dances off the silver links at his cuffs and the subtle sheen of his watch. He gestures gracefully toward a wide leather chair opposite him. "Please," he says, voice smooth and deliberate. "Have a seat." The chair looks too fine for me, too welcoming, like it belongs to someone accustomed to privilege. Still, I lower myself slowly, clutching my sewing kit on my lap as though it can anchor me. The pale leather sighs beneath my weight, enfolding me in an embrace I am not sure I've earned. He remains standing, arms folded loosely, gaze steady. The room feels quieter with him like this, commanding without trying. My eyes flicker to a side table where glossy magazines are stacked. Vogue, Architectural Digest, Elle Decor. Their pages gleam with images of penthouses that float above clouds, gowns that flow like rivers, interiors that blur art with design. These are my secret dreams bound in print, my unspoken prayers stitched into glossy covers. My chest tightens. These worlds feel impossibly far from laundry carts and detergent fumes. Yet here I sit, in the office of the man whose name dominates those pages. I brace myself for mockery, for the polite dismissal I have always feared. But when I glance at him, there is no condescension, only genuine curiosity. "You have a good eye," he says, nodding toward the magazines. "Tell me, what catches your attention?" Heat creeps across my face, but I cannot waste the moment. I reach for the top magazine, smoothing my hand across the glossy cover as though handling treasure. "The layouts," I murmur, voice unsteady but earnest. "The way design and fashion speak to each other. A fold, a line, a twist of fabric. How something simple transforms into a statement." He inclines his head, urging me on. "In laundry," I continue, steadier now, "I learned to see what others overlook. A stained apron can become a cushion. A torn sleeve might inspire a jacket. I dream of creating designs that make the ordinary extraordinary, where beauty lives inside function." For the first time, his face lights with something unguarded. He steps closer, resting a hand on the table's edge. His voice softens. "That's the vision I want for Westmont Studios. A place where practicality and artistry don't just meet, they belong together. Where every stitch tells a story." The words strike me like a spark. He isn't humoring me. He believes this. The air between us shivers with possibility. The view beyond the glass transforms from skyline to promise. He turns toward a sleek credenza. Atop it sits a single vase of white orchids, pristine and fragile against the steel backdrop. From beside it, he lifts, A folded shirt, the one I repaired in the lobby, and carries it back to the table. My heart stumbles. He lays it out carefully, the seam catching sunlight. This, he says, fingers brushing the line of my work, is more than repair. It is proof his eyes lock on mine. I want you to lead a new division. Take this vision beyond mending. Show me what only you can create. I freeze. Lead a division? Me. The words feel unreal, a dream spoken aloud in a place where dreams are not supposed to be acknowledged. My voice cracks. I would be honored. His mouth curves into a small smile. Good. He unbuttons the shirt cuff slowly, revealing the flawless seam beneath. He lifts it up, inspecting it like a rare stone, then lowers it with reverence. Finally, his hand drifts to the sewing kit on my lap. My breath halts as he picks it up gently, opening the flap. Inside lie my spools of thread, needles, my grandmother's brass thimble nestled like a relic. He studies them all, respect flickering in his gaze. Closing the kit, he places it between us. His voice lowers to a near whisper. Show me that perfect stitch. The words ripple through me, more command than request. Slowly, I rise from the chair, kit in hand. My knees brush the soft carpet as I kneel beside the conference table once again. This is no longer about a torn seam. This is about proving I belong in this cathedral of glass, about stitching my name into the story of this place. As I prepare the needle, the office door clicks shut softly behind us. The city sprawls beyond the glass, its towers pulsing like a silent audience. My fingers hover above the fabric, every movement weighted with meaning. He leans forward, watching closely. Then his phone buzzes sharply. A message glows on the screen. Board meeting in 5. Confirmed. His eyes lift to mine, concern flashing. Can you finish in time? He asks. My breath catches. This stitch must be flawless, or everything could unravel. I kneel at his desk again, needle glinting in the lamplight, every breath measured as if the world outside this glass sanctuary might shatter with the wrong stitch. The scent of polished walnut surrounds me as I settle before Brandon's desk, sewing kit in hand. The lamp casts a warm pool across the glossy surface. Outside, dusk drapes the skyline in violet and rose, skyscraper lights flickering on like stars. In this moment, our worlds, his of power, mine of fabric, intersect in a quiet constellation. I lift the torn hem of his shirt, pulling the edges together. My fingers, trained by years in the laundry, work steadily, yet tonight each stitch feels heavier. The opulence of the lobby, the hush of elevators, all fade as his gaze rests on my hands. He watches every movement, dark eyes reflecting the glow. His tailored suit silhouettes him against the windows, skyline lights outlining his shoulders. I feel the weight of his attention and steady myself. I think of my grandmother's words. A stitch is only as good as the care behind it. I guide the needle through, pulling taut so the seam lies flat, strong enough to hold. The rhythm becomes meditative, each loop an affirmation of skill. His voice cuts the silence. How long have you been working with fabric? I glance up. Since I was 12, my grandmother taught me. I mended our clothes, made new designs from scraps. It was my escape, and eventually my purpose. He nods. Purpose. That's a powerful motivator. His interest feels genuine, free of the detachment I feared. He leans back, offering me full attention. I inhale. Good design solves problems, makes life better. Even small tears undermine confidence. A repair restores dignity. But I've dreamed of creating pieces that blend function with artistry. Clothing that adapts to its wearer, like buildings adapt to people. His eyes flicker with intrigue. Adaptability. Exactly what I want in Westmont Studios. Garments that respond to human needs. Dynamic, intuitive, my heart hammers. He echoes my vision. A fragile bridge spans between us, built on shared ideals rather than hierarchy. I tie the last stitch, trimming the thread. The seam lies flawless. I smooth the fabric and hand it to him. He inspects it, wedding band glinting in the lamp. Relief and admiration touch his face. Impeccable. Every stitch exact rising. He steps around the desk, placing a gentle hand on my shoulder. You've earned my trust, with every movement. I inhale sharply. Trust is a currency I've never had in this world of glass towers. But here, his words feel like a declaration. I belong. He returns to the desk, lifting a square leather notebook embossed with the Westmont crest. Opening it, he reveals sketches of clothing fused with architecture. This is the concept: wearable architecture. A modular line of business attire with removable panels, adjustable silhouettes, garments that adapt from boardroom to after hours. My breath catches. Crisp lines, annotations, fabric swatches. Ambitious and groundbreaking. I trace a drawing, imagining transformation. It's brilliant, I whisper. Hesitation flickers across his face, as if he wonders if I'll dismiss it. May I ask. He hands me the notebook. I sketch modifications in the margin. Reinforce seams here. Add stretch panels for mobility. And these snaps, this setup converts the blazer into a vest in seconds. His gaze warms. Exactly. That's why I wanted you here. You don't just mend. You innovate. Pride rises in me. No longer bound to basement seams, I am part of something that could reshape how people present themselves. A soft rap interrupts. His assistant enters, poised, tablet in hand. Mr. Westmont, the board is ready. His smile dims, replaced by resolve. He closes the notebook, sliding it into his briefcase. Thank you, he says, tone both apologetic and excited. Your insights are invaluable. Stay tuned. I nod, pulse racing. Tonight I'm not just an observer, I'm a participant. The ripples of trust we've woven stretch beyond seams. Cliffhanger. He gathers his jacket and briefcase, turning back with a spark in his eyes. Come with me, he says quietly. My pulse surges as I rise, brushing off my skirt. We step into the corridor, city lights twinkling like witnesses. At the far end, the boardroom doors stand ready. Behind them, every decision that will shape our partnership awaits. I follow, fingers still tingling from our shared vision, knowing that once I step inside, there's no turning back. 6 corporate secrets, approximately 1,000 words. Hook. I trail him through ivory marble halls, heart pounding with each step, as if I've stumbled into a palace reserved for ghosts of ambition. The corridor stretches like a runway of polished stone, its walls clad in creamy marble veined with charcoal. My shoes echo softly, each tap a reminder that I don't belong here. Yet somehow I do. Executive offices branch on both sides, frosted glass labeled in sleek script. Global strategy, CFO, investor relations. I tuck my sewing kit deeper into my tote, forcing steady breaths. Brandon moves ahead with assured purpose. Executives greet him with nods or handshakes, their glances flicking toward me, some curious, some surprised. Whispers trail. Is that the seamstress? She's with him. I straighten instinctively, bracing against my own disbelief. We pause before double doors, brushed steel gleaming. Brandon swipes his gold card. The doors hiss open. Beyond lies a room pulsing with monitors, a nerve center at the heart of his empire. I step inside, breath catching. The air hums with electricity. Dozens of screens wrap the room, stock tickers streaming, graphs pulsing, maps dotted with indicators. Each monitor a story, each data point a heartbeat I've never tracked, until now. He guides me to a curved console of touchscreens. Analysts glance up, brows arching at my presence. Brandon nods politely, then turns to me, skyline framing him. This, he says, voice low, is where we make sense of chaos. My pulse races, the constant dance of numbers, the flicker of markets, the tension in every frame. A far cry from fabric scraps and sewing machines. Yet here I stand, not by accident, but design. He gestures to a large screen of architectural renderings, floor plans, rooftop gardens. A tap shifts to an unbuilt floor. Westmont Design Division. This is the division I want to launch, he explains. A space where form meets function, where building and wardrobe speak the same language. My breath catches. A dedicated design hub. The words echo my secret passion, an intersection of architecture and couture I never dared voice. It's incredible, I whisper. He nods, eyes alight. I have infrastructure, capital, connections. What I need is your vision, your understanding of fabric as environment, clothing that adapts, spaces that respond. He sweeps his hand, rotating the 3D model, open studios, garment racks built into walls, color labs beside material libraries. Heart-pounding, I step closer. The model shifts from blueprint to render, sunlight flooding atriums, mannequins in adaptive blazers, desks alive with swatches. Every detail resonates with childhood dreams of blending creativity with practicality. The memory of basement laundry flashes, roaring machines, endless linens. Now everything feels possible. Yet doubt whispers, "Can I truly shape this?" He senses it. You bring two perspectives this company lacks, the craft of a seamstress and the sensibility of a designer. That duality is rare. That duality is yours. His tone both challenge and promise. I breathe deeply, pressing my palm to the console. I'll give you a proposal. Sustainable fabrics, modular designs, seamless workflow between architect and artisan. His smile lights instantly. Exactly. He taps commands analysts can't follow, then pulls out a slim graphite-gray tablet. Preloaded with projections, demographics, analyses. Study tonight. Draft your vision by morning. He hands it to me. Its cool surface springs alive. Spreadsheets, trends, 3D models. My pulse skips. This isn't a mended shirt in a laundry. This is a launch pad, a canvas elevated by data. Around us, analysts return to screens, whispers fading into clicks. Brandon leans back, arms folded. I have faith in your ability to distill beauty from numbers and craft garments reflecting intelligence behind every statistic. I nod, resolve steadying. The tablet glows with the Westmont Studios logo, waiting for my first design. Purpose anchors me. This is more than creativity. It's trust, data, daring dreams. He rests a hand on my shoulder, brief but grounding. Get to work, he murmurs. Tomorrow we present to the board. I hold the tablet like a precious artifact, its potential humming in my hands. The corridor beyond beckons, but I linger in this nerve center, where my humble skill and his corporate might merge into something greater. As I turn to leave, he calls after me. Oh, and one more thing. My breath catches. He taps a red-lit icon. Top secret, prototype. The screen blurs into a hybrid garment studio blueprint. He meets my wide-eyed stare. You won't believe what we're developing behind these doors. Down the hall, the conference room door slides open, and I realize tonight's work will uncover secrets deeper than boardroom budgets. Late at night, my tiny apartment glows with fabric swatches and sketches. Each scrap a promise, each line on the page a lifeline to a future I'm determined to stitch together. The hum of the sewing machine is my midnight metronome, marking the hours as I spread velvet, linen, and silken blends across the work table. A single desk lamp casts everything in warm gold, turning mundane threads into molten rivers of possibility. I've pinned swatches to a foam board, dove-gray wool echoing the marble pillars of his lobby, pale oyster silk shimmering like sunlight on the windows, charcoal twill reflecting the lines of his boardroom suits. My pencil darts across the page as I sketch modular jacket prototypes, each segment designed to snap, fold, and reconfigure. I can almost hear the soft click of his cufflinks as I imagine him standing before a mirror, slipping my design over his sleeve with a nod of approval. The apartment's walls are plastered with magazine tearouts, runways, interiors, architectural marvels, all converging in this small room where ambition refuses to be censored. At 2:47 a.m., my phone buzzes on the nightstand. I lean over, bracing myself. The screen lights my face. Brandon Westmont. Need it by dawn. My pulse ricochets against my ribs. No embellishments, no pleas, just his economy of words. The pressure is intoxicating. The deadline turns every stitch into a heartbeat of raw urgency. I return to the sewing machine, feet dancing across the pedal as I align oyster silk panels with charcoal twill. My machine's rhythmic whir is a chorus of hope and dread. Outside, the city skyline twinkles, windows in high-rise apartments glowing like distant stars. Somewhere out there, life pulses on. Cocktails, traffic, conversation. While I work toward a reveal that could reshape both our worlds. My fingers move on autopilot, guiding the fabric beneath the presser foot. Each seam must be perfect. No puckers, no uneven stitches. I adjust thread tension, test the bobbin, then whisper a self-pep talk. You've done this 1,000 times in your dreams. The spinneret of the machine spits out 2 jackets in quick succession, one in gray wool with hidden pockets, another in silk blend with adjustable lapels. I lift each fresh piece, inspecting the lines against the lamp's glow. The collars sit exactly right, and the snap closures click with satisfying precision. The hours bend and warp, the dish in the sink overflows, sketches pile higher, and my eyelids grow heavy. But I press on, fueled by instant coffee and the electric spark of possibility. At 4 a.m., I catch a glimpse of my reflection in the window, sleep-tousled hair, thread dust on my fingertips, eyes bright with purpose. I barely recognize the woman staring back, less a laundry worker, more a creator poised on the brink of dawn. As the first pale rays of morning filter through the curtain slats, I fumble for my phone again. No new message yet. I assemble the garments on coat hangers, drape them over the back of a chair, and photograph each angle under the lamp. The final step: transfer the digital files and photos onto the sleek tablet he provided, labeling folders Look 1, Look 2, Technical Specs, Mood Sketches. My finger hovers over Send. A text bubble appears. Time check. My chest tightens. I open the tablet's messaging app and tap Send just as the apartment lights flicker and die. First one bulb, then the desk lamp, then the faint glow of my phone. Everything plunges into silence. My breath hitches. The hum of the sewing machine cuts off mid-stitch, leaving a metallic echo in the sudden stillness. I scramble for the flashlight app, beams trembling across the walls. Outside, the city lights blink out one by one until the panorama beyond the window is swallowed by black. In the darkness, I press the tablet to my chest, heart pounding as if I've just pressed Submit on my entire life. Will the designs hold their shape in his eyes, or will they collapse in the void? My apartment feels impossibly small now, filled with the promise of his judgment and the weight of every sleepless hour. The sudden blackout leaves me stranded in my own ambition. I fumble for my phone. No signal. Then a single notification pierces the dark. Received. Be ready. My pulse surges. Dawn's silence feels like a held breath waiting to exhale. I take a shaky step toward the door, the echo of the city's heartbeat finally fading, and wonder if I'm prepared for what comes next. Dawn breaks as I step into the gleaming boardroom, portfolio in hand. The polished oak table stretches the length of the room, reflecting the pale morning light streaming through glass walls. Leather chairs stand like sentinels around it, each already occupied by directors in tailored suits. My heart pounds, but Brandon's approving nod from the far end steadies me. For the first time, I am not just a seamstress. I am here to present my vision. The chairwoman adjusts her glasses, gaze sharp but not unkind. Across the table, skeptical eyes flick from my portfolio to the swatches I carry. I take a seat, laying fabric samples and digital renderings across the glossy surface. For a breathless moment, silence reigns. Then I begin. My work began in basements and laundries, with torn aprons and threadbare uniforms, I say, voice steady despite my nerves. But what I learned there was simple. Good design restores dignity. A garment is more than fabric. It is identity, confidence, adaptability. I tap the sleek tablet Brandon entrusted to me. The screen flickers alive with sketches, modular jackets, transformable blazers, silk blends paired with wool. With a swipe, I reveal technical diagrams, snap closures, stretch panels, concealed seams. Murmurs ripple through the room. Some lean closer. These pieces, I continue, holding up a gray wool prototype, aren't just clothes. They are solutions. Imagine a boardroom suit that adapts for evening functions, a blazer that becomes a vest in seconds, fabric engineered to respond not only to movement, but to mood. One director clears his throat, skeptical. Fashion is fickle. Why invest in adaptability when trends change overnight? I meet his eyes. Because adaptability outlives trends. When garments adjust to life itself, they never go out of style. Thereby, room stills. My words hang heavy, and for the first time, I sense they are listening. Brandon leans forward, adding weight to my case. Westmont Studios has always thrived at the intersection of innovation and necessity. She embodies that philosophy. Confidence flares within me. I swipe again, revealing digital renders of a future design hub, garment racks woven into architecture, skylights illuminating fabric workshops, mannequins wearing adaptive silhouettes. This, I say softly, is where fashion and architecture meet. A space where people don't just wear design, they live inside it. The chairwoman tilts her head, studying me. And who exactly are you? Her question slices through me, not hostile, but probing. I inhale. I'm the one who mended clothes in the basement, invisible. I'm the one who stitched dignity back into fabric scraps, and I am the one who now brings that same precision to innovation. My hands carry both survival and ambition. The room shifts. Some directors whisper, others nod. For the first time, I feel the weight of my story weaving into theirs. I pass the prototypes down the table. Hands brush fabric, test snaps, examine seams. A few directors exchange surprised glances. One murmurs, "Impressive workmanship." Another, "Ingenious design." Encouraged, I open my portfolio fully, showing mood boards pinned with swatches, oyster silk reflecting sunlight, charcoal twill echoing corporate lines, dove gray wool echoing the very marble pillars of Westmont Tower. This collection, I explain, isn't just fashion. It's a language. Every seam is a sentence, every panel a phrase. Together, they tell the story of adaptability, the story of Westmont Studios. The chairwoman leans back, fingers steepled. The silence stretches, broken only by the quiet hum of city traffic beyond the glass. Brandon's gaze locks with mine, his silent encouragement a tether holding me steady. I close with resolve. I believe in garments that carry trust, the way stitches carry strength. I may have started in the shadows, but I stand here ready to help redefine how this company presents itself to the world. The chairwoman studies me for a long moment, then smiles, a rare, unexpected warmth. "We're impressed," she says, voice measured yet electric. "But if we bring you into this circle, you must be ready for what comes next." Her words hang like a door half open, daring me to step through. My pulse surges. Around the table, directors wait, judgment still forming. I realize this moment could either anchor my future or unravel it. I stand in a sprawling factory, the hum of machines swelling like a restless tide, each vibration rattling the steel beams above. Rows of industrial looms roar, threads flying through shuttles at dizzying speed, pulling raw fiber into fabric with mechanical precision. The smell of oil, dye, and scorched cotton hangs heavy, mingling with steam hissing from overhead pipes. Workers in aprons pace between machines, checking gauges, adjusting belts, recording numbers on clipboards. It feels like I've stepped into the beating heart of an empire, louder, harsher, and more unforgiving than any boardroom. Brandon's voice rises above the clamor. "This," he says, gesturing to the rows of churning machines, "is where numbers meet reality. Every meter of fabric has a cost. Every adjustment ripples through the budget. Dreams have to survive here, or die here." I clutch my notes against the vibration of the floor. My fingers brush the samples I've carried: oyster silk, recycled blends, waterless dyed twill. "And every fabric choice," I reply, my voice steadier than I feel, "has consequences. We can cut costs with synthetics today, but what about tomorrow? Eco-friendly textiles may be expensive, but they last longer, waste less, and send a message of responsibility. That's innovation, too." The chief engineer, a burly man with grease streaked on his apron, snorts. His arms cross like iron bars. "Organic cotton, recycled fibers, bamboo blends. They're unstable at this scale. They shrink, they warp, they're unreliable. And sourcing them? A nightmare. Margins collapse before production even leaves the floor." His words ripple like static. A few supervisors nod in agreement, while others glance uneasily at Brandon. The CFO, sharp-eyed and silent, stands a few steps away. He doesn't argue. He doesn't need to. The ledger in his hands, filled with neat columns of figures, does the talking for him. He only watches Brandon, waiting for his verdict. I inhale slowly, trying not to flinch under the weight of so many eyes. I step forward, holding out one of the samples. The silk is soft, luminous, its sheen catching the fluorescent lights overhead. Yes, it costs more. Yes, it's harder to source. But adaptability isn't only in seams, it's in values. If Westmont Studios wants to redefine how the world dresses, shouldn't our garments stand for more than style? Shouldn't they carry integrity stitched into every fiber? For a moment, only the factory's roar fills the silence. Machines clatter, belts whine, gears grind. But in the space between sounds, I feel the room tilt, as if the future itself teeters here. Brandon steps closer, taking the fabric from my hands. He rubs it between his fingers, thoughtful, his expression unreadable. Then his jaw sets. He turns toward the CFO. "Approve the purchase orders. Start a pilot run with sustainable textiles." The engineer stiffens. "Mr. Westmont, that decision cuts into projected profits by nearly 8%. Brandon doesn't blink. His voice is steel. "Then we'll adjust. Innovation always costs before it pays." The CFO exhales slowly, pen scratching across his ledger. No protest, only acknowledgement. Around us, workers exchange glances. Some whisper, some nod, impressed. A murmur runs through the floor, shock, approval, doubt, all colliding like sparks. And in that instant, I feel the shift. Our partnership is no longer confined to thread and needle. It is strategy. It is risk. It is leadership. Brandon has placed faith not just in my skill, but in my vision. Gratitude wells in me, so sharp it almost hurts. I glance at him, heart thudding. He meets my gaze for a fleeting moment, and in that look, I see not just trust, but something deeper. An acknowledgement that we are no longer simply CEO and seamstress. We are collaborators shaping the future of an empire. The factory continues to roar, but suddenly its rhythm feels different. Less mechanical, more alive, like applause. And then, chaos. A shrill alarm cuts through the noise, so loud it rattles the windows high above. Red lights flare along the walls, spinning beams of color across steel beams and stacks of fabric. The looms begin to sputter, their rhythm faltering. A worker's shout pierces the confusion. "Smoke! End of the line." I whip my head toward the far side of the floor. A vat, larger than a small truck, belches black plumes that curl upward into the rafters. Acrid fumes roll across the ceiling, stinging my eyes and throat. The hiss of steam turns into an angry roar as gauges spin into the red. Panic sweeps the floor. Workers scatter, yanking at emergency levers, slamming switches, cutting power to machines. Fabric rolls tumble from conveyors, spilling across the concrete. Somewhere, metal shrieks as a pressure valve bursts. The engineer curses, sprinting toward the vat with 2 assistants. Brandon grabs my arm, dragging me a step back as another alarm begins to wail. My chest tightens. I clutch the eco-fabric samples to my chest as though they could anchor me. This factory, the place where I thought dreams might be woven, is suddenly a crucible, threatening to devour everything. The alarm blares, drowning every thought. Smoke thickens, crawling downward. Brandon grips my arm tighter, pulling me toward the exit. My pulse hammers, feet stumbling against the vibrating floor. What began as a debate over profit margins has turned into something far more dangerous. And as the factory fills with choking smoke, I realize our choices may cost us more than money. They may cost us everything. Flames dance at vat edges as alarms echo off steel. Each roar a warning that everything we've built could unravel in an instant. The emergency siren's shriek cuts through the factory's steady hum, sending a shockwave rippling down every conveyor belt and travelator. I freeze mid-stride on the grated catwalk, high above vats of steaming dyes and endless rolls of fabric. Below me, workers scatter, voices rising in panicked shouts as orange and yellow tongues lick the sides of a 2,000-gallon vat. Thick smoke billows upward, dark as industrial ink, blotting out the overhead lights in a swirl of acrid haze. I clutch my proposal folder, every detailed budget, every polished rendering, against my chest as if it were a life raft. Memories flash. Brandon's nod of approval when we greenlit the eco line. The engineer's tentative smiles at my sustainable specs. The CFO's grudging admiration for my tenacity. Now, those dreams hang in the balance, threatened by a single spark that set this vat aflame, turning our ambitions into smoldering ruins. Panic surges, but I force myself to move. I hurry down the safety stairs, heart pounding so loud I can almost hear it over the clamor. At the base, sparks shower across the floor like malevolent fireworks. Workers press against fire exits, breathing through damp cloths, eyes wide with shock. I spot our lead technician, Mara, her face ghostly pale beneath her hard hat. She points to a valve wheel just yards from the flames. I dash forward, arms shaking, and heave against the wheel. It barely budges. Heat washes over me as the vat's metal siding glows red hot. Smoke stings my eyes. I cough, vision blurring. The acrid taste of burning chemicals fills my mouth. Every instinct screams to flee, but this is my responsibility, my designs, my credibility, our partnership's future. All of it stuck inside that vat. I yank at the valve again, muscles straining. Behind me, I hear running footsteps. Brandon appears at my side, raincoat flapping over his suit, sleeves rolled up to reveal cufflinks now dulled by soot. His calm presence steadies me. Together, we strain on the wheel, shoulder to shoulder, until it finally clicks and begins to turn. A jet of water explodes from the pipe, hissing as it hits the blazing die. Steam engulfs us in a scalding cloud, but we stay rooted, redoubling our efforts. The workers around us rush in with hoses and extinguishers, directing streams of water that cascade over the vat's rim, sending clouds of pink-tinged steam upward. Sparks sputter and die. The flames retreat under the relentless pressure of liquid. I press my hand to the valve, chest heaving, exhilarated by the sudden victory. The inferno subsides into smoldering embers, and at last, Mara clicks her radio mic. "Fire suppressed," she announces, voice trembling with relief and fatigue. "All stations stand down." The alarm's shriek fades to an electronic beep as emergency systems disengage. Steam swirls around us, cloaking Brandon and me in a veil of triumph and fear. He turns to me, eyes intense beneath droplets of water and sweat. "Are you okay?" he calls over the hiss. My throat is raw from smoke. I nod, grinning shakily. "We did it," I gasp. My words choke off as a stern voice cuts through the aftermath. The CFO's figure emerges at the edge of our cloud, a man whose calm demeanor I've come to respect. His usually crisp suit is stained with searing steam. His silver hair is damp against his forehead. He stares at the charred vat, then at my water-drenched sketches wedged in my proposal folder. My heart twists as he raises a shaking hand and taps the folder. "It's all ruined," he whispers, voice trembling more than any alarm. "The pilot line. It's gone." I stare down at my soaked portfolio, the pages fused together, sketches bleeding into an indecipherable blur. Brandon grips my arm, tension etched on his face. "We have backups, right?" I'll the words out, but hear my own doubt echoing back. Outside, the factory lights flicker in the receding haze. The CFO's next words slice through the steam. "Our insurance won't cover experimental materials." My chest tightens. Can our vision survive this blaze? We stand before the soggy remains of our prototype, hearts heavy as the echo of yesterday's inferno still hangs in the humid air. The factory floor is a waterlogged tableau of twisted metal frames and ruined fabric. Every droplet on the concrete glistens like a teardrop in the harsh overhead lights. I bend to scoop up a mangled sleeve, once the sleek modular panel I envisioned, and watch it disintegrate in my hand, fibers swollen and colors bleeding into one another. My stomach tightens. The hours of midnight sewing, the promise of dawn's debut, feel swallowed by smoke and steam. Brandon steps beside me, raincoat still damp from the sprinkler deluge. He lifts a strip of fabric from the wreckage, its edges singed, its weave loosened by heat and water. He holds it out gently, as though it were a fragile bird. "Here," he says softly, pressing it into my palm. The soaked textile feels cold, heavy with failure. I stare at it, imagining the best-case scenario. A clean pilot run, enthusiastic executives, zero-waste buzz. Instead, this tangle of ruined thread reminds me how precarious ambition can be. Yet in his steady eyes, I see no disappointment, only resolve. "Don't let this fool you," he continues, voice low. "Your vision has value." His words land like lifelines in the chaos. I meet his gaze, searching for sincerity amid the fallout. He nods once, firmly, and my pulse halts its frantic beat. Around us, the factory's workforce flocks to the scene. Engineers and technicians arrive with wrenches and mops, ready to clear the deck and restore order. A line of maintenance carts squeaks into position, and a foreman barks instructions. "Clear debris this way. Sweep up water there." The team moves as well-oiled machinery, transforming disaster into opportunity. I press the fabric sample to my chest, feeling its damp weight and the gravity of his encouragement. "Thank you," I whisper, voice thick. The words are tiny against the factory's roar, but he hears them. He offers a half-smile and stands tall, authority radiating even in this compromised space. I glance at my sewing kit, surprisingly intact, and pat it with gentle gratitude. It's not the prototype he's invested in, but the promise behind it. The raw materials, the sketches, the countless revisions, all speak to a deeper commitment, the shared belief that we can build something stronger from the ashes. Brandon calls the foreman over. "Let's get a temporary line running," he instructs. "Maria and I will review the specifications and adjust the process." Relief flares in my chest. He's not abandoning the project. He's doubling down. This shared resolve feels more valuable than any single design. I follow him to a makeshift office carted in from an adjoining hall, a folding table, 2 plastic chairs, and a stack of binders. Engineers clear a space, placing my sketches and his tablet atop the table. The air smells of detergent and fresh oil, a peculiar blend that now carries a note of hope. As the workers reset looms and racks of fabric, Brandon swivels the tablet toward me, opening a new folder labeled Version 1.1, Reinforced Protocol. "We're going to reweave," he says, eyes bright with purpose. "No shortcuts this time. Stronger fiber blends, updated fire-resistant lining, and a dedicated test chamber for dye vats." I skim the notes. Supplier contacts for flame-retardant fabrics, safety checklists, prototype timelines. The plan is comprehensive, ambitious, and exactly what I'd hoped for, but feared would be abandoned. My heart lifts. This collaborative spirit embodies the trust we've built through every stitch, every presentation. I look up at him, breath catching. I won't let you down, I promise, words infused with renewed determination. He nods. I know. He closes the tablet and tucks it under his arm. Now, one more thing. He reaches into his suit pocket and pulls out a key card, identical to the one that first admitted me into the VIP lobby. Its edges gleam in the factory's fluorescent glare. I blink in surprise. What's this? He holds it out like a torch guiding my path. Your new office. I stare at the card, speechless. Behind him, workers move with renewed vigor. The line hums to life once more. Beyond the factory floor, windows reveal the city skyline, an expanse of possibility as vast as the night I first held his gold card. My breath catches. The soggy prototype, the ruined swatches, the fire. They were tests of faith, not roadblocks. And here is the proof, a tangible sign that trust, once stitched, can bind even the most frayed edges into a new beginning. I take a step forward, extending my hand to accept the card. When my fingers close around it, a spark of light flashes across the room, a silent affirmation that our partnership is more than a contract. It's a shared tapestry of ambition and resilience. Outside, the factory doors open to a gathering crowd, board members drawn by the commotion. Brandon and I exchange a glance. He taps the key card against a small console beside a glass-walled office door that reads Director of Design. The lock clicks, and the door swings open. As I step inside, the lights dim, and a hush falls over the onlookers. Behind me, he murmurs, "Welcome to your new office." I turn to face not only a room, but a future woven from the threads of trust, and wonder which patchwork challenge awaits next. The elevator doors open on a chic new studio, my designs on display, each garment a testament to nights of trial and triumph. I step across the threshold into Westmont Studios' inaugural fashion atelier, breath-catching at the sight before me. The space is a seamless blend of form and function, polished concrete floors warmed by area rugs in muted grays and ivories, walls lined with backlit racks showcasing my adaptive apparel collection. Sunlight filters through panoramic windows, illuminating mannequins draped in modular blazers, convertible vests, and sleek trousers with hidden stretch panels. Each piece hangs like a sculpture, telling a story of innovation and purpose. Above the entrance, in brushed gold letters, my name gleams. Maria Cortez, Director of Design. I run a finger across a corner of the sign, the metal cool beneath my palm, a tangible reminder of the journey from basement seamstress to head of this creative studio. My heart swells with pride and disbelief as I take in every detail. The minimalist drafting tables arranged in a circular pattern, garment racks on caster wheels for fluid collaboration, and a fabric library in the corner. Shelves of vibrant swatches organized by texture and technical specification. A gentle hum of conversation drifts from the cafe-style nook at the far end, where a barista pours artisan coffee for the first wave of team members arriving. The aroma of espresso blends with the faint scent of fresh textiles and the clean electric tang of design software. My portfolio sits open on a glass-topped demi-lune desk, the first sketches that once lived in dog-eared notebooks now framed in elegant presentations. I turn to see Brandon Westmont enter behind me, his expression softening as he surveys the studio. The morning light catches the gold in his cufflinks, and he offers me a proud smile, a smile that says, "We did this together." He steps to my side, hand brushing mine in a gesture of quiet solidarity. "I can't believe how far we've come," I whisper, voice thick with emotion. He nods, eyes bright. This is only the beginning. He guides me past the racks to a low circular workstation where my design team, 3 seamstresses, 2 CAD specialists, and a sustainability analyst, gathers around a laptop displaying the next prototype iteration. They glance up, returning my smile with eager nods and murmured congratulations. I clear my throat and step forward. "Welcome, everyone," I begin, heart buoyed by their hopeful gazes. "Today, we refine these prototypes for our upcoming launch. Let's bring our best ideas to the table." Their applause is warm and genuine, the sound echoing off the high ceilings. As they disperse to their stations, some pinning new fabric panels, others adjusting laser-cut patterns, Brandon leads me along the perimeter. He points out features, the climate control lining tucked, into a wool overcoat, the undercollar sensors awaiting micro-heating elements, and the pop-up display table where augmented reality previews can project patterns onto live models. Each technological marvel sits beside handcrafted examples of seams I once stitched by hand. I pause at a mannequin wearing a charcoal blazer whose sleeves detach via nearly invisible magnets. "This one was the turning point," I say, brushing my fingertips over the lapel. "When we proved modular design could be both functional and elegant." The tool bench beyond hums with electric sewing machines and 3D fabric printers, an orchestra of innovation humming to life. Brandon stands beside me, arms folded casually. "Your vision has reshaped how we see corporate attire," he murmurs. "You've made this building, our flagship property, into a home for creative exploration." His words glow like lanterns in my chest. I inhale, letting the moment settle in. "Thank you for trusting me," I reply, glancing at the team dispersed around the studio. "I couldn't have done this without their talent and your support." A flicker of humility softens his proud gaze. We share a quiet smile, 2 partners bound by ambition and shared even through disaster. Outside the glass walls, traffic levels ebb and flow like a living organism, but inside, time feels suspended, a perfect interlude before the next chapter. Suddenly, a sharp knock at the door punctures our reverie. The studio falls silent as every team member's attention turns toward the entrance. Brandon's brow lifts in curiosity. I step forward, pulse quickening. One of his assistants, a poised professional in a crisp suit, holds open the door for a tall woman with striking conviction and a portfolio tucked under her arm. The woman's designer heels click on the polished floor, and she pauses just inside, surveying the space with a discerning eye. "Mr. Westmont," she announces, voice confident and smooth. "I'm Evelyn Hart, CEO of Arcadia Fashion Group. May I have a moment?" My breath hitches at the name. Arcadia, a powerhouse known for trend-setting designs and global reach. If Evelyn's interest is genuine, it could catapult our fledgling studio onto the world stage. Brandon steps forward, offering his hand and broadening his smile. "Miss Hart, welcome to Westmont Studios. We're honored by your visit." Her gaze shifts to me, assessment and intrigue dancing in her eyes. She extends a slender hand. "Maria Cortez," she says, voice rich with promise. "I've heard extraordinary things. I'd love to see your work firsthand." I nod, stepping aside to reveal the central display. The adaptive collection arranged like treasures in a museum. Evelyn's eyes linger over each piece, trouble-free fabrics, hidden features, sustainable badges on the labels. She touches the snap closures, runs her hand along the seam lines, and smiles with genuine appreciation. Brandon places a hand on my shoulder, pride and excitement radiating from his stance. "Miss Hart, please, this is Maria's vision in fabric. Take your time." Evelyn's smile widens as she lifts a silk linen hybrid ensemble. This is exactly what the market needs, she murmurs, reading a small placard. A line that bridges the gap between formality and flexibility. She catches my eye. Maria, I'd like to discuss a potential partnership. Collaborative capsule collections, global distribution channels, your designs on every continent. My breath catches in my throat. The studio's buzz transforms into a symphony of possibility, my dreams woven into a tapestry that spans the globe. I manage a nod, voice steady despite the whirlwind of excitement inside me. I would be honored, I whisper. Evelyn extends her portfolio. Let's talk specifics. As she and Brandon step to the drafting table, poring over schedules and figures, I stand amidst my creations, each stitch and seam a milestone in the journey that began with a torn shirt. The panorama of the city beyond the windows glimmers with promise. The door slides shut, leaving the three of us bathed in dawn's golden light. My team watches from workstations, anticipation etched on every face. Evelyn taps her pen on the table and looks directly at me. If we move forward, she says, we'll need an exclusive capsule collection ready in 6 weeks. My chest tightens. 6 weeks to turn prototypes into a global phenomenon. I swallow, meeting her gaze. Consider it done. Ready to stitch your own success story? Smash that like and subscribe to fuel our journey from humble seams to skyscraper dreams. Comment below. Which turning point, her midnight sewing spree, the boardroom debut, or surviving the factory blaze, was your favorite twist? Ring the bell to catch every dramatic reveal and industry insider secret. Share this video with a friend who needs a reminder that one spark of courage can transform your world.